Welcome to Module 4 of Business Launch Game Plan. The topic today is publishing regular content. Those are some nasty words, I know, because they're words of commitment and persistence, and those are scary for a lot of us. I've been there. So we're going to dig into that. Before we do, let's do a quick recap of what we saw in Module 3. So here's where you guys should be at. You should know now why you need a website and also what should go on your website, along with knowing that it's not going to be perfect. It's not going to be perfect from the start, and it's not going to be perfect even a year from now. So that now that you've got that kind of taken care of, you've maybe got a plan started for your website, and you've got it in your head that you're going to build this, and you're not going to let it, you're not going to let perfectionism get in your way of getting your website going. Then we're ready to move on to Module 4. So today's game plan, a few things we're going to talk about. We're going to talk about the different types of content. So for those of you that are new to this world of publishing and creating regular content online, we're going to dig into what exactly the different types are. We're also going to talk about different ways that you can make your content valuable, because that is the goal of content. If you're just putting stuff up there, out on your website, out on your blog, that's not valuable to people, then there's really no reason to do it. So the number one goal of creating and publishing regular content on our platforms, whether it's video or written content, the number one goal is to make sure that it's valuable. It's valuable to your target audience. And the third one is I'm going to give you some tips for growing your audience over time. Note that I said over time there. We're going to talk about how this does take a while to build. An audience takes a while to build, and there's different strategies that you can put in place to grow your audience consistently over time. So the first one, let's talk about the different types of content. Obviously, there are many different types of content, but here's the big three. There really are three big ones. Number one, blog posts. This is going to be most likely your most popular one that you see out there. Written articles or blog posts. The second one is podcasts. So podcasts are recorded audio. An example of a podcast would be if you strip the video from this video and just listen to the audio. That could be a podcast. Pre-recorded audio segments. And the third one is videos. You guys probably guessed that. It's videos. YouTube. That's content. People have made tons of money. They've generated tons of subscribers. They've made a name for themselves and their business through videos. Those are the big three right there. Blog posts, podcasts, and videos. So let's take a look at each one a little bit more specifically. Blog posts, they're written articles. Pretty much just simple as that. So there's an example on the right of some blog posts. Those are 4 blog posts taken from my blog, createmyindependence.com. And by the way, some of those they happen to contain podcast episodes within them, but this is what a blog looks like. It's a list of posts. They typically show up on websites in reverse chronological order. So what that means is the newest articles are on top, and then as you scroll down and as you click over to additional pages, you're going to see things go back in time. So the newest articles are on top. And that the reason that's that way is so that the freshest stuff, the freshest content, the newest and latest stuff is always front and center. It's always on top. When you get to the website, there it is. So blog posts, they can really be any length. So people like Seth Godin write really short blog posts. But there's also people that write really long ones. Typically, blog posts are 1,000 words or so long. That's a good rule of thumb to kind of how long should they be? Well, just start with 1,000 words, maybe a little more. So search engines like Google, they love blog posts. Why do they love them? Well, they love them because they're all text, or mostly all text. So text is great for containing keywords because keywords are text. So you can pack a lot of keywords into a blog post. And really, you don't even have to pack them into blog posts. Just writing written content in general, you automatically, by default, have a lot of keywords in it. So you've got everything. You've got the building blocks of getting indexed on search engines. So your traditional search engines are Google, Yahoo, Bing, and written blog posts do really well. Those search engines love written blog posts. So those people out there who are looking to read what you're writing. So if you write a blog post, those people out there that you're targeting that towards, that are going to find value in your article, well, they're likely going to find your content through search engines if you put it out there. Because like I said, search engines love blog posts. If you put it out there, you focus it on a specific topic, the goal is to have people find that. The second one is podcasts or pre-recorded audio segments. So podcasts, they're different from blog posts in that they're audio. They're spoken audio instead of text. So here's an iTunes screenshot on the right of my podcast, Create My Independence. You'll find that on iTunes. Podcasts are findable, just like I said, in places like iTunes or other podcast search engines like Stitcher. So that's where you're going to find them, is in things like iTunes. Podcasts, they can be consumed while doing something else. So this is a very interesting aspect of podcasts. So when you're cooking, you're making dinner for the family, or you're out exercising, maybe you're running or on a treadmill or lifting weights. Let me ask you this. Can you read blog posts while you're doing that? Okay, maybe if you're sitting on an exercise bike or a treadmill, yes, you can read. But if you're doing the other things like riding a real bicycle or running out on the real ground and not a treadmill, or you're cooking for the family, can you read during that activity? No. But can you listen to a podcast? Yes. And here's a really important one. Driving. When you're commuting to work, maybe you got that 30-hour commute every morning, and same thing when you leave work to come home every evening. Can you read while you're driving in traffic? No, the answer is no. Can you listen to a podcast? Definitely. So this creates a huge opportunity for podcasters. It creates a huge opportunity for you as someone who could potentially create podcasts and put them out there for people to consume what you have to say. And it's convenient for people because they can do it while they're doing something else. That's huge. So if you're like me and you don't really enjoy writing, or maybe you're not very good at it, then perhaps podcasting may be a better option than blogging for you. Like blog posts, people will find you, especially given that the podcast app is now on the iPhone by default. People are going to find you, just like blog posts, where people would find you through search engines. People will find you through podcast search engines as well. Podcasts are they're a great way to develop a deep relationship with your target audience. So you really get to know somebody when you listen to their podcast. When you can hear their voice, hear their inflection, hear their personality. You don't get such a great glimpse of that when you read somebody's writing. But when you hear them talk, you really feel like you know them. And so that's why podcasts are a great way to build trust with your audience. So if you're going to potentially have an expensive or a higher end product or service to sell, maybe it's consulting, maybe it's coaching, a podcast is a great way to build trust with that audience so that they really feel like they know you and trust you. And so that's a good way to sell them a premium product. Because are people going to pay a lot of money, let's say $1,000, $2,000 to someone they don't trust? No, they won't. So podcasts are a great way to market products and services that are at premium price points. Let's talk videos, the third of the big three. So you know the value of videos. You've likely watched videos. You've been on YouTube. Even movies or TV shows. You really understand the value, how they can entertain you and you can learn a lot from them, how they're very valuable. Everyone loves to watch videos. Maybe not everyone, but the majority of us really enjoy watching videos, especially if it's content that's interesting to us. So videos allow you to show things both visually and audibly, obviously. A little tougher to create, though. Videos are a little harder to create. because there's so much more involved. It's not just audio, the sound of your voice. You can't just clip things out. If you clip video, it's going to be choppy. So, and you got to worry about lighting and composition of the picture, and you've also got to worry about audio. So it's quite a bit harder to make videos. It takes more of an investment. And on the consuming side, as the people that are watching your videos and consuming your content, it's demanding. It requires 100% of their attention. They can't be doing something else because they've got to both listen and they've got to watch. So it really requires 100% of attention. So it's pretty demanding. There's a certain group of people that's just too busy to be able to consume videos, or at least as many videos as you might put out there. But videos, again, like podcasting, they're a great way to connect with people and build trust, because even better than podcasting, not only can you hear their voice and listen to them, but you can also see them. You can see the way they're presenting themselves and all that body language stuff. You get that. There's some statistic out there about verbal, the words you say is only a certain percentage of the communication. Well, that full communication comes through in video. You get the body language, you get the audio and the voice, you get the words they're saying. So it's probably one of the best ways to build trust with your audience. So let's talk about ways to make your content valuable, because we all want to make content valuable, or like I said, it just doesn't make sense to even put content out there in the first place. Number one is create content that helps people. So that's really the standard you measure this by. Create content that solves the problems of your audience. And you want to categorize your content, you want to title it, you want to tag it, and all those things, because you want to help people find it. So if it's a blog post, you want to make sure the keywords are in there and that it's titled appropriately. Just do a little bit of searching on search engine optimization. You want to implement those tactics and strategies. With podcasting, you want to make sure the right tags are on it. You want to make sure it's in iTunes. You want to make sure it's in the places people look. So if you're a podcast, you want to get into iTunes and Stitcher. If you are a blog, you want to make sure that you're indexed on Google. If you're a video show, you want to make sure you're on YouTube. Things like that. You want to make sure that you're doing your best to help people find your content. Like I just said, if it's a blog post, keyword optimize it. Podcast, get it in iTunes. Videos, optimize for YouTube. Here's some tips for growing your audience over time. Number one, publish content regularly. So you want to make it clear to your audience that you continue to publish content. There's going to be more coming, so you should subscribe and check back. And that keeps things growing. If it's not an active site, it's not an active blog, podcast, video channel, people really aren't going to take much interest. So publishing regularly will build trust, and it'll build a relationship with your target audience. What you want to do here is make sure that you dedicate the time to this, and you be patient and persistent, because it's going to take a while. You got to keep at this. Note the title of this slide: over time, persistence. It will pay off in the long term. So here's a quick kind of look at, this is my blog traffic, my site traffic. See how it just kind of trends upwards over time? That's the persistence right there. That's patience. It takes a while to get up there. A red flag alert here is thinking you don't have what it takes. Don't buy into this. I get emails all the time. Craig, I just don't think I can do this. I don't think I can put out regular content. I don't have the time or the energy, especially with my full-time job. Here's the thing. I never wrote anything. I'm saying I never really wrote anything before 2011. Wasn't a writer, didn't know I could do any of this. But yet I started a blog in December of 2011 and have since published over 200 blog posts. So we're talking about a guy that really never wrote anything before. Didn't have any confidence in his writing ability. Didn't do well in high school. If anybody couldn't create a blog, it's me. I had a full-time job and all that too. I stutter as far as talking, and I'm a terrible speaker, and yet I've published over 40 podcast episodes. Crazy. So if I can get out there and do this, you can too. All right, coming up next in Module 5, relationships. So we're going to talk about how relationships fit into all this. That's going to be the next step. So I'll see you guys over in module number 5.